As realtors, we often get asked, how much do you think my home is worth? Or how much do you think I could get for my home if I were to sell it today? And when providing answers to these questions, we aren't just going off of intuition and experience, but also concrete data by conducting what we call a comparative market analysis, or a CMA. In today's video, I'm going to talk about what a CMA is, what it entails, and how we use it as realtors to accurately predict the current market value of property. I'm Samantha Scrivilo with the Jennifer Queen team of RE/MAX Professionals, and today I'm going to be talking about Comparative Market Analysis, or CMA is the acronym that you'll often hear used. Basically, a Comparative Market Analysis, or a CMA, is a report that compares a subject property, so oftentimes your property, to comparable properties in the area that are on the market currently, that have recently sold, or failed to sell. A CMA is commonly used to help accurately price a property when it's going to hit the market. A realtor, when conducting a CMA, will basically ask you a couple questions about your home or the subject property up front. So we need to know the address of the property, and then it's often that we'll ask you a couple questions. Things like, have you done any upgrades to the home in your home ownership? How many bedrooms, baths, age of any of the mechanical systems, things like that. That's often all we need to get started on our CMA, or Comparative Market Analysis report. Once we have that information, we're going to start to hunt for comparative properties to the subject property in the area. So we're going to look for homes, like I said, that are most similar to your property that have most recently sold, because that gives you a really good idea of what the market is telling you about a home like yours. When finding comparable properties to include in our CMA report, there's lots that gets taken into consideration. So I want to touch on a few of the most important ones. So the first one, as you can imagine, is going to be location. So the location of the home, we want to pick homes that have recently sold in your pocket area or neighborhood that are similar to yours. The next thing is going to be square footage and layout. So typically, the more square footage a property has, the higher its value is going to be. Layout, I'm talking about things like number of bedrooms. So for example, a 3-bedroom as opposed to a 2-bedroom is often going to have a higher value. So we want to find a home that is very similar in square footage and layout to the subject property. The next one is going to be age of construction. So as you can imagine, a newer home is also going to tend to value a little bit higher than, say, an older home. We're not going to necessarily compare a home that was built in 1910 to a home that was built in 1980. The last one, and certainly not least, is going to be the overall condition of the home. So when we talk about overall condition, again, multiple factors come into play. But you want to think of things like, has the home been well maintained over its lifespan? Have those bigger ticket update items been done? So for example, is your furnace in the middle of its lifespan or at the end of its lifespan? How old are the shingles? Have you been maintaining things like windows? Things like that all come into play when finding comparable properties to the subject property. I always say no two properties are going to be the same. However, if we can find, say, 6 to 9 very comparable properties that have sold recently in your area, when we see the sale price of those properties, it gives us a good idea of what the subject property would be worth if we put it on the market today. Of course, as realtors, we need to physically see the home to properly assess its value. So your realtor is likely going to make a CMA appointment with you at the subject property, at the home. You can expect that appointment to be about an hour. What we're going to do is we're going to walk through the home and look for things, kind of like I mentioned before, really looking at that condition of the property. At the time of the CMA appointment, your realtor will be able to advise you on what they believe that the current market value of the subject property is. They will bring that CMA report and discuss those comparable properties with you. you'll be able to see what's happening in the area and oftentimes can predict very accurately within a very small span what your home is likely to sell for if it went onto the market today. You'll notice that I keep saying today. Of course, the market is always changing. So if I were to do a CMA at your home 6 months ago and come back and do it again, that number might vary just because the market is always changing. Typically, you'll often get a copy of the CMA report so you can go through this data yourself and have it with you so you can have a better understanding of what your property is worth in today's current market. When we think about CMAs, we often think about them from a selling standpoint or the listing standpoint, right? So we're coming in, we're doing a CMA to advise and see what your home would likely sell for in today's market. However, I often use the CMA tool for buyer clients as well. So for example, if a buyer really likes a home and we are going to write an offer on a property, I want to do a CMA and kind of show the buyer this is what's selling in the area for what. Especially in multiple offer scenarios, it's really helpful. It helps so that you're not going to under offer on the home that you love, or I don't also want you overpaying for a home that you love just because, say, you're in a multiple offer scenario. It gives the buyer an idea of what the home that they're offering on is worth in today's current market. Now, hopefully you have a better understanding about what a CMA or comparative market analysis is. Our team does provide free, no obligation CMAs. So if you're wondering what your home is currently worth or hoping to put it on the market, feel free to reach out and we would be happy to set up a CMA appointment with you. Once again, I'm Samantha Scribilo with the Jennifer Queen team of RE/MAX Professionals. Thanks so much for watching this video today.